With the anniversary coming soon in version 3.3, I thought it would be a fun idea to speculate on the potential rewards that the next anniversary could bring. Now, one disclaimer that I'm going to make just right now before anything gets out of control is this is all just speculation from me. None of this is officially confirmed, it's literally just assuming things based on the last anniversary as well as my experience with other gacha game anniversaries. The first thing I want to talk about is not so much a reward as much as it is a celebration of the game, which is that I believe that there is going to be another mass rerun. Last anniversary we had 12 characters rerunning alongside 2 new releases, and I think this anniversary is going to have something very similar. Now, I definitely do not believe that they are going to rerun every single character. That would just be too much, especially with some characters already having banners in version 3.2 like Lene, Phoebe, and Sigrika. They handled the version 2.3 anniversary rather similarly, where they did not rerun any of the characters that had banners in 2.2, being Camellia, Shorekeeper, and Cantarella. So I don't think we're going to see reruns for Sigrika, Choyuan, Lene, Zani, or Phoebe, but other characters are definitely on the table. One character I do definitely think is going to get a rerun is Imeth. She is one of WuWa's most popular characters, and rerunning her with the anniversary just makes too much sense, especially with Denia being a fusion character, meaning she is most likely the fusion burst sub DPS. They also do this mass rerun thing in PGR, where they create a banner where you're able to guarantee any one singular S-rank character for up to one time. In my opinion, these kinds of banners for the anniversary are a very good thing, because usually anniversaries cause a lot of people to come back to the game or try the game for the first time, and these mass reruns allows people to get their favorite character rather easily. My second prediction is that we are going to get some free 10 pulls. This one seems relatively easy to guess. All of the big gacha games give at the very least 20 limited pulls for their anniversary. And while just 20 limited pulls is a rather low amount, these are usually obtained purely just by logging in and doing genuinely nothing else. For last year's anniversary, we had a relatively standard login event that gave us 5 limited pulls and 5 standard pulls, like the one we have every update. But we also got an additional event that gave 10 free pulls as well as an icon for the anniversary just for logging in. Before the anniversary update, we also had an additional event that gave out 10 free pulls for each banner. So while I do believe that standard banner pulls don't really matter that much, we would at least be getting 10 limited pulls and 10 weapon banner pulls from that kind of event, leading to a total of 30 limited pulls. I also believe that alongside these rewards we're going to get 1600 asteroids. I don't have a specific reason for thinking we're going to get specifically 1600 asteroids from somewhere, other than the fact that games like Genshin and Honkai Star Rail also give us 1600 of their currency in the mail. But yeah, when it comes to giving us free currency for doing nothing other than logging in, I do believe it's going to be 20 pulls for a limited character, 10 pulls for a limited weapon, 10 for either of these standard banners, and then 1600 asteroids to spend wherever we want to. Now back to some more exciting stuff that isn't just free pulls, being a spending event or a pulling event. In version 3.1 with Imeth's release, we got a spending event, but in version 2.3 when we got the anniversary last year, we had a pulling event. Now, what is the difference between these two? A spending event is entirely centered around actually spending money. Whether this is for loot nights, for cosmetics, or for some of the packs in the store, it doesn't matter. As long as you have to spend actual money to get these rewards, that would be a spending event. As for a pulling event, it is going to give you in-game currency whenever you pull on one of the banners during the version, and when you get that currency, you can buy things from an in-game shop. That is what we had in version 2.3. So a spending event would be entirely inaccessible for free-to-play players, meanwhile a pulling event would be entirely inaccessible to people skipping the patches of this version. Now, I am not going to talk about the nature of spending events or pulling events, because that is not the conversation I want to have in this video. Rather, I want to talk about what the potential rewards for these events could be, starting with the pulling event. In the last pulling event called the Gilded Night Market, we have rewards like modifiers, 10 Radiant Tides, tuners, echo level up materials, forgery supply boxes, weapon skins, and phantom echoes. There were also supply boxes for weekly boss materials and various other rewards. So as you can tell, outside of the 10 free pulls, almost all of these are either cosmetic items or simply progression materials. And I think with this anniversary, we are going to get a very similar selection of items. I think the 10 Radiant Tides will return, as well as the modifiers. But a new inclusion is most likely going to be the transducers used to reroll substats. Currently, these are incredibly expensive materials, only obtainable in the coral shop by using big corals, aka the same ones you would use to get character sequences. In my opinion, this is an awful deal, so adding transducers to this shop would be a very useful addition for the people pulling in patch 3.3. The standard level up items like tuners, echo XP, character XP, and shell credits are most likely also going to get a return, as well as the boxes for weekly boss materials. All of the new phantom echoes are most likely also going to be added, and maybe they will also add the old event weapons like the Somme Noir Anchor or the Ocean's Gift. But outside of that, I'm not expecting any new interesting additions. Then when it comes to the spending event, I think the rewards for these are most likely going to be rather similar to the rewards we had in version 3.1. Those being primarily cosmetic items with some materials, and then a selection between a couple of 5-star characters. I think the selection between Jinshi, Shorekeeper, and Camellia was already a pretty decent selection for a spending event. Jinshi and Camellia were rather old DPSs, so it's not like they created much FOMO. It was simply an alternative way to get them. Shorekeeper, however, is a very high value character that is actually worth spending for. So who do I think is going to be in the spending event this time for the free characters? I wouldn't be surprised if we end up getting Jinshi, Camellia, and Shorekeeper again, but if I were to speculate on other potential candidates, I think Shang Liao would be a pretty decent candidate. He's a decent DPS, but he's by no means meta-defining. And I think the fact that he got upgraded by Linnea's release would have some people pretty interested in trying him out with their Linne. So adding him to the spending event might not be a horrible idea. I also think there is a less than zero chance we're going to see Yinlin get added. Yinlin is also not a very good character, which means that she wouldn't cause much pressure for you to actually pull to get her in the spending event, but she is rather popular. So she isn't strong enough to really get good banner sales, so if they want to squeeze Yinlin for all she's worth, adding her to a spending event could be a pretty decent compromise. It would allow Kuro to at least make some money off of the character's existence, while not having to dedicate an entire banner to her. The other 1.x characters like Jian, Changli, or Zhezhe would also be decent fits on the spending event. But anything after Camellia, I do not expect them to actually put on the spending event. Last anniversary, they also released skins for Carlotta and Changli to release in version 2.4. Now, while these skins technically didn't come out during the anniversary patch, they were still counted as things they added for the anniversary. I do think that there is a good chance for them to add skins in version 3.3 as well. I would assume that they're going to release 2 skins again, but for which characters, that is the question. I believe that one of the best contenders to get a skin is Chisa. Chisa is an incredibly popular character, and she has some of the highest merch sales when it comes to Wuthering Waves, so I think Chisa is definitely one of the prime candidates to get a skin. Chisa's fans are incredibly dedicated to the character, no matter how strong or weak she is in the meta, and I think that is the perfect type of character to make a skin for. If I had to guess what kind of skin Chisa would get, I'm guessing something like a magical girl theme. This is for 2 reasons. The first big reason being the fact that Chisa's fans are most likely also big fans of generic anime tropes, and the second reason being that it would simply be too good of a chance to pass up for Imeth, Denia, and Chisa to all have pink hair in the same team. As for the second character to get a skin, I'm not as sure on this one, but I do think it's going to be Cardathea. Cardathea is another one of WuWa's most popular characters, with a lot of incredibly dedicated fans. Imeth and Cardathea are definitely the top 2 from what I have seen, and I think Imeth releasing more recently makes it a bit less likely for her to get a skin. As for what the Cardothea skin would be, I would assume something that leans into the more comfy and cozy side, because a lot of Cardothea's fans are fans of how cute she is. So something that goes into this direction would definitely be a very good way to try and earn money from the Cardothea fans. But those are just my predictions. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and while you're down there, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions, be sure to join my Discord, which is linked in the description. But that'll be all from me. Peace.